Hello everyone, how you doing? Sorry for the lateness. Been quite busy. Got caught up in traffic. Well, I didn't actually get caught up in traffic. My GPS seemed to take me the scenic route today, and ended up doing a 5 hour journey. So it's really nice. But just want to make one thing clear. Is anybody, if you can hear me, make sure you just give us a thumbs up or something, just so you can hear me at the moment. Let's see, is it going on? It should be. Everything should be online. Can't actually see it coming through as yet. Let me just check, make sure that's okay. I don't know why it's not come off the picture. Oh, you can hear me. Have you been able to hear me this whole time, by the way? I might have been coughing into the microphone at some point. I do apologise if I have been. But it doesn't seem to have got the image. Why has the image not come up? That's very weird. I don't know. Can you guys see me? You can put a thumbs up if you can, because I can't see it for some reason. Let me just... let's go back onto that. So it should be there. Yes, it doesn't appear to be all good. So you can see me, because I can't, on my thing it's saying that I can't see my, it's not working. It's still the picture. But anyway, you can hear me, that's the main thing. Okay, all good. Fantastic. Maybe it's just my end. My computer's decided no, it doesn't want to show me that it's working, because it's only got the still picture. But anyway, how's your week been? Did anyone see the thing on Cymatic TV of what I was going into? About the planetary alignments in accordance to AI Atlas on the 3rd and the 4th of November, which is tomorrow. All good, excellent. I'm glad you can see it. I can't see anything, so for me it doesn't seem to be working. But anyway, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, and it was the alignments of the planets tied in really beautiful with the sort of what we would perceive as the meaning of the planets. And it seems to be giving us a very good lesson that, it's like everything. I used to have a phrase that I used to say, the person who knows they know nothing the moment they know. And I think this is one of those moments where and the moment you know something, all of a sudden there's so much more stuff to discover that you actually realise, actually, I don't know anything. I thought I knew everything there for a minute, but actually I don't know anything, So let me get, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get this puppy up so you can see the comments and so forth. Who was it? Someone said to me, someone said a comment, they said, what they say? They said it was Goob. Hello, Goob. Has that gone off now? What's going on? I don't know. There's things making noises all around me at the moment. Goob. Yeah, you saw the Jeff Mara show. Great. Love Jeff Mara. Jeff, I haven't met Mara, but Jeff was fantastic. Had a really good chat with him pre-interview. And yeah, really lovely guy. Can't wait to do another one on a different subject this time. I've got a couple of subjects that I'd really like to sort of go into deep with him, which would be quite funny. That'd be really good. So, well, Goop, welcome to. I don't know your name actually, so I do apologise. But until I know, I'll call you Goob. Yeah, it's yeah, it'd be good to welcome to the Astroflower family. Basically, that's what I was trying to sort of say. Sissy, how you doing? Nikota, Sacred Light Warrior, how you doing? Frisia, thanking you very much for the helping out with a bit of the administration and so that. Thumbs all out. Oh, you can hear it. Good. Excellent. I can't actually see a moving picture, so it doesn't really matter, but I don't mind. I don't need to see myself. I have to see that every morning, call blimey. So, yeah, I hope you're all doing well. So those alignments were all about a understanding, because, when you look at 3i Atlas, we get nothing but it's doing things we've never seen before. And, I thought I'd like to sort of say that, it's only the third time we've seen an interstellar object. And I think we're going to, and I did this, when I did the first 3i Atlas thing, I did a remote viewing on it. And I said there's going to be more that's going to be coming our way. And I think there's going to be a lot more. I think we're just coming into, if you imagine the two galactic sheets, north and south, basically the northern hemisphere, the galaxy, and the lower southern hemisphere. And then we're going across the equator at the moment. That's what we're doing. And in that equator, because there's no real magnetic interference, things can fly at a far greater speed than what would normally be. And this is possibly why the planet Earth has also been speeding up. In 2023, we broke, I think there was at least 10 records that we broke on the speed of the Earth, rotation of the speed of the Earth. And you don't need much for an Earth to change its speed in order to have major changes going on. So, hang on, I just need to just move that camera a little bit. There you go. I think we're coming into that point there. And this point is with the comet, because it's doing things that we've never really experienced before. It's because it's teaching us that not all magnetic fields have the same result, have the same conditioning. And that comet there comes from a conditioning on a magnetic field that is completely different to our solar system. And that's why we're getting major effects. That's why we're getting changes of colour, especially when it goes through the perihelion. So it's gone closest to the sun. It's come out the other side. The sun, as it went around the back of the sun, there was lots of explosions, the eruptions of the sun. And I showed in a video on Cymatic TV about how the sun can do eruptions and actually push comets and move their direction. And apparently it did change direction. It's changed direction and it's moving even further away from Earth now, it was already never going to get anywhere near Earth, but here it's going to be moved a little bit further away, and it's speeded up. And I think that's because, and I even said it in the video, I said, I think the sun's just kind of going, bon voyage, happy route, as it were. So, yeah. So, not right at the beginning. But when you ask if we can hear, yes, it's fine. Okay, right. So you can see you too. Okay, good, great, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, and I hope everything's going well for you. Welcome. And this could all be part of. If you look at the age of Aquarius, what's supposed to be happening in the age of Aquarius? It's all about that. It's all about the wiping. Aquarius is John the Baptist, so it's basically baptizing. So what do we do in baptizing? We wash away the old life and we build a new one. And I think that's what the message that came out with all those planetary alignments that's coming up tomorrow and the next day, where it's all about an understanding, re-evaluating our understanding of the solar system, of the world, of the universe, of spiritual practices, of energy practice, and everything like that. And I think it's a bit of it's an aha moment within the solar system. And I think the solar system is a conscious thing. This is what I was saying as well the other day, that consciousness is not just limited to, I think I was saying that on the messages, energy messages. He does always ask great questions, Jeff. Yes, he certainly does. He does. We were talking about, in the good old days when we had coast to coast radio, coast to coast AM, when it was on the AM frequency. That's going back a few years, way before, and that sort of spawned Project Camelot and stuff like that, which I was part of back in 2000 or whatever it was. Good long time ago. And then I was on another sort of thing of, Mists of Avalon as well. But it's like, we had a great chat about Coast to Coast and the different presenters, and because we didn't really have the internet at the time when Coast to Coast was out, it was only just sort of like going hand in hand in a way. So, yeah, Jeff, he come from the same era, so we understood a lot with each other. It's absolutely brilliant, and I will be doing some more stuff with him. There's no doubt about it. Really enjoyed it. So, has anybody noticed that? Has anybody noticed like an impression of an understanding that's coming to the surface? When I'm looking around at life, generally the human life, you look at things and you kind of think there is, I said this was the year of truths, and it seems like a lot of truths will be coming out, and we've still got a long way to go till we get to the new year, as it were. And I think it's gonna play an important role of what is going to be coming in the future, of how we interact with this ongoing pole shifting, etc. I think it will be phenomenal. Very phenomenal in the way it sort of does it. So, has anybody sort of been sensing that as well? That whole idea of, the change that's coming in. Frisia, you're saying more awareness. Is it like a heightened awareness of the energy, of the general energy that is around you, coincidences and so forth? Let me just bring up the other one so I can actually see what it's doing. Is that what you're sort of saying there? I've got to try and find a place where I can actually see the comments, because it's a little bit difficult to actually see the comments. Is that you, Vita? Hi, Tom. I didn't get a notification that you were on. Do you know what? I've been running on the road, Vita. So this is a bit of a surprise. I didn't even think I was going to be able to do it tonight anyway. So I'm not going to be on here for ages, but So yes, you're so back to the sort of thing, Frisia. You sort of like a heightened sensitivity. And is it just within the human world, or are you noticing it within the animal and vegetable kingdoms, as it were? I get from the trees. I talk to trees all the time, and I talk to plants. I do talk to you guys, don't I? You know what I mean? And I think they're way ahead of us humans. I think they're already prepared, very well prepared in this whole sort of thing. Very sort of prepared. I've exploded the wrong one, so you can't see that anymore. I think the vegetable world is very well prepared for what's coming up in the thing. Revealings within. This is yes more. So this comes from Nikota. Yes, more revealings within, and clarity of our purpose, and more and seeing more. I guess the revealings of the lids coming off the off in the world. Do you mean lids in other people? Have you noticed that? I'm in the third. I'm in. Nature and sector and energies. Yeah, right. Okay. So I'm in the 3rd of November already. Are you in the 3rd of November already, Ken? Okay. Yeah. Because you're down under, aren't you? Yeah, you would be. You would have gone past the date. Did you see that? Or shall I show you what I was talking about quickly? I've got it here somewhere. Where did I have it? I had it here somewhere. Here it is here. Just tell me if you can see that, because I can't actually. My computer, my copy of this is not showing me that I've got the video's actually up and running. So I can't really see whether it's up and running. Oh yes, no, I can see it now. But there you go. It should be up and running now. So yeah, it's let me. It's Goob. I've been. It's been a while. This is from Goob. This new member. Hi, how you doing? Hello, how you doing? Wild ride for me for around 5 years now. Yeah, I think a lot of people have gone through that. Do you know, I was talking with, Kayan was mentioning it the other week about the, the Mayan calendar, and I was sort of saying there's one particular calendar that's 5 empty days, and it might be 5 years, that we went through. Suddenly plunged into a new world of premonitions. Okay, synchronicity, visions, archetypes, which is really important, and orbs in the sky that are here every night almost. Whereabouts are you, Goob? Can see the planet in your visual. Okay, good. Right, yeah, excellent. Let me get back to that because I forgot all about that, didn't I? Let me just find out where that is for you in a second. Hang on a second. There it is there. Okay, so let's just make sure we got the right date. Here we go with 3rd of November. So here you've got this sort of there's 3-eye atlas that's connected to Saturn, and that goes right up to Neptune, as far as I think it's Neptune in the background. Why won't it give me it's showing every other, this is my computer's wanting to mess up. It shows every other planet apart from that one. So that's Neptune there. So you get that sort of alignment there. You've also got this sort of it's just come out of that Sun, Venus, and Atlas, 3-eye Atlas. And then you've got that sort of, there it is, there's 3-eye Atlas, Pluto, and Mars. And then you have at the same time, you do have the Venus, Saturn, Venus, Sun. Let me just go in a little bit closer so you can see. Venus, Sun, Saturn, and Neptune. With just Mercury out the way, so there's Mercury giving one of the messages of those 4 there, and then you've got the other ones that are sort of Venus playing with the Sun, and it's sort of like, it's loving messages. And the other one we had as well, which is Mercury, Earth, and Uranus as well, which comes through, I think, much more on the 4th. Or is it just going out now? No, it's Mars, Earth, and Uranus as well. And then you have these ones here, just gone a little bit out of line as well. With Jupiter on the 4th, it starts going out of line on that. Jupiter, Venus, and Mars as well. And it's, once you start looking at it's connected with 3-eye Atlas. So 3-eye Atlas with Mars and Pluto, it's all about the change and the transformation. And it's being very active in that change and transformation. And then we see, what is it? It's 3-eye Atlas, Mercury, Saturn, and Uranus, Saturn and Neptune. So basically, it's bringing forth with the message of order and structure to a spiritual or energetical world. that's what the message it's bringing in, and it's bringing it in through action. And then hang on, and then we have the Mars, Earth, and Uranus, which is more about structure, isn't it? I've forgotten what Uranus is off the top of my head, but it's more about sort of structure and the action that is being placed upon the Earth of this understanding. So then, therefore, we can put in a whole new system. And I think this is where a bit of a light bulb moment sort of comes out in everybody, or in the solar system, because as I was saying earlier on, the solar system is a conscious being. We may not be able to understand that consciousness because we're not planets. We can get a glimpse of it, and I can get a glimpse of what it's like to be Cody, but, everyone's objectives and stuff like that are completely different. So, it's gonna have a different consciousness that goes along with it. So I think the solar system here is sort of welcoming 3i Atlas to sort of say, okay, well, let's bring in an understanding for the human beings here. But it's got to be with love, and that comes back to the whole idea of poking the bear. What I was saying with poking the bear, and you shouldn't really poke the bear and what have you. So maybe it's already been in the solar system for the last 5 years, but maybe all goob. It's done a lot, really. The orbs show me geometry from a time when my vessel is open for it. Still don't know what they are. Spiritual it seems. Yeah, it's like when I'm near Bolton up north. Right, okay, fine, fair enough. So some are barreling ahead, and some are still hanging on to the old ways of seeing. Some. Not as many as we'd like, perhaps. That's from Kayan. So, for me, on the spiritual, on those orbs are like the best way to, I think, convey information. Are they spirits? No, not on my reckoning. I think it's more information than anything else, and it could be sort of like spirit information. It's a difficult one to say, because say like if it's information coming from someone, you could perceive it as being a spirit, if you know what I mean. But orbs and spirits are more associated with next door, as it were. When we pass over from this life to the next. It's quite well possibly that, but yeah, the animals are way more aware, or I'm more aware as well. Been some amazing things with animals lately for me. Excellent. Yeah, visuals up for me. Everything's taken a step up. Do you know what? I had a discussion with the universe. Must have been about 2 months ago. Maybe even a bit more than that, actually. It was this summer, so it might have been 4 months ago. And I said, the universe asked me, said, well, what needs to happen for the human species to make that leap from one side to the other? And I said, and I was talking to the universe, and I said, well, the main thing that needs to happen is people really need to learn and understand how energy works, and learn to start seeing energy and so forth. And I think that's what's being playing through at the moment, and it will give us a much greater heads up on what's going on in the universe and the world and everything like that, and also in spirit. So this is from Vita. I had the most amazing experience a few weeks ago. I was sitting outside grounding, looking down at the grass, and witnessed weeds coming up out of the soil. So you saw a plant growing. Wow. That moment that the leaf breaks the surface. I grabbed my phone and caught some of it on camera. Excellent. Send it to me. I'd love to see that. Really cool. Yeah, exactly. Lizards in particular for me. I'm in South Florida. Yeah. Okay. I tell you what's been for me is crows. I'm obviously in the UK, in the southern part of the UK. So it's getting very winter-like at the moment. But crows have been doing it for me. It is very exciting. It is very exciting. I think it will clear up a lot of doubts and disputes once we understand and start seeing energy for, constantly. Because that's gonna be the biggest game changer. Really will, if we can, start seeing the magnetic fields for what they are. And once we do, there's no hiding. You really can't hide from what you see in front of your eyes. And some of it's sort of, especially once you start, getting into the chakras and the auras and stuff like that, things that we have been taught, or repeatedly taught in regards of energy and how the energy works is not right. There's a lot of things that need to be reevaluated, I think, in regards to energy. Incredibly reevaluated. There's a lot of sentiment in how we convey what energy is, how it works and everything like that. There's a lot of sentiment, say, like a lot of emotions and so forth, and energy doesn't really, it produces emotions, but it's not an emotional being, because otherwise it would be just way too destructive at times. But it's not an emotional being, but what it does is sets up the environment to allow emotions to happen. So, and I think this is what, will help us enormously. So we can solve a lot of issues that we may be struggling with at the moment. We had an earthquake in Queensland, Australia, a few weeks back. On the day before that, I kept getting a message from Mother Earth: I will protect you, all is well. Then the unusual quake hit. Wow. Excellent. I've been hearing a lot of cows, all right, as well. But I thought that that was their norm. But I'm hearing them more because I'm going outside. Oh, well, that's possibly true. Yeah. Love cows. They're my most favourite animal. I love giving them cuddles. They are the most beautiful things, cows. They're just so gentle. They're the most gentlest things you've ever come across. Elementals. Elementals, you mean elementals as in sort of like a spirit elemental? This is it. It's a fine line, and this is where I kind of sort of say it conveys information, but it's coming from some source, and that source could be attached to a being, as it were. And you do see orbs, when you pass over, from this side to the other side. The first thing you do is your whole energy system collapses to that crossing point in the middle of you, right behind your sternum, and it comes out like an orb. Crows. Did I say cows? Blimey, I'm really getting bad with my reading, and so the orb comes out of your body like that, and then it's collected by your guides, as it were, and that's what creates that column of light. So yes, I can understand it. I can understand that there's a spirit attached to it, an elemental, I look at elementals in a different way. Who was that bloke who used to do? Is it Kiros? There was some books some time ago about like a shamanish sort of kind of guy used to talk about elementals in Crete, I think it was, or in some Greek island or so forth. But elementals, I look at a different sort of sense of elementals. They're the spirits that have been sent there with a mission, and they're not really conscious of anything else apart from that. That's how, that's what I call an elemental anyway, But crows, yeah. How can I send you the video, Tom? It's 4 minutes long. You can do it through, you got my email. You can do it through WeTransfer. That's probably the best way. If you go on to WeTransfer, W-E transfer, what you can do is you can send me quite large files, but and an email, and then I can go and collect them, as it were. So I should be able to get it, and I'll put it up. I'll put it up sometime. So yeah, I think animals and plants are way ahead of the curve, because the thing is, what they do is they sense the magnetic shift as it's happening, the pole shift as it's sort of happening, because that's what we're going into, and it's an amazing moment of learning as much as anything else. And that pole shift is happening constantly, even if we may not notice it within so much within the physical world, as it were. The plants certainly are already getting into a rhythm. I don't know if you've noticed that sometimes they're much more than when I was a kid back in the 1970s. They seem to be flowering at different times, as if like they're getting ready for new timings of the seasons and stuff like that. Megalithic plan is being highlighted for me today. Heightened understanding. Have you been to some standing stones recently? Is that what you're saying? The megalithic plan. What's the megalithic plan? That'd be brilliant. Try it, Vita. It'd be lovely to see. Me and Tanya were talking earlier on about it, about Atlantis and so forth. And I think I'm going to do a video particularly associated to Atlantis, because there's the sort of things that come up in my sort of visions that I was having sort of like 25, 30 years ago. Yeah, 30 years ago, more than 25. It seems to sort of tell them the Atlantis story as well, and the future of the Atlantis story. So, yeah, but what's the megalithic plan? It's obviously big, because of the standing stones. Yeah. Well, the standing stones, for me, okay, I think they're born out of a much more ancient time than we actually sort of think. Like the pyramids. I think the pyramids came way before the local Egyptian people 10,000 years ago started discovering them. I think they were already there from an ancient time before that, because the thing that's going to stand out is stones, basically, as over thousands of years. It used to be used a little bit like harp in a way, as much as it was for religious things and stuff like that, as much as the pyramids were used for that. And I did do things when they discovered those wells under the pyramids. And it's like Silbury Hill. You go to Silbury Hill in the UK, which is not too far from a place called Avebury Stone Circle. I'll go and do a reading up there, actually, this month. I'll try and get up there this month for that. And that was a pyramid that he created, that they put on top of a spring. When you draw water, and it's made out of chalk, the pyramid. So if you draw water up and you pass water by each other, you create this electrical discharge, and that's channeling the energy, as it were. Okay, so I think the megalithic plan. Because if we change the North Pole, will that change everything on the standing stones? Our interpretations on the standing stones. If there's a tilt on the Earth, will it change drastically, like we did before? You can see, the planet, the pyramids that are in alignment with, the Giza and what's his name, Orion's belt. And that was at the time when, wasn't it? was it Sirius was the North Star at that time? But anyway, it's going back a long time now. But yeah, it may come from another age. But standing stones, yeah, they have a lot. We could use them enormously if we so wanted to, but we just don't. It's a real shame. It's like we don't. We go in and awe at the pyramids, but we're not using them. They're an amazing bit of kit that we could be using. So, yeah. So I get the megalithic thing. I go along with that. I love that sort of thing. Okay, so Goob, you're saying the orbs that I see are very similar to the Chris Bledsoe story, and they appear just as much. I don't know whether the Chris Bledsoe. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. Unfortunately, I wish I was, but I'm unfortunately not with him. So, and Karen says, I thought the orbs were elementals generated by Earth itself to inform us. Oh, well, that's very similar to the idea of information coming through. There's a book out called The Megalithic Plan. Oh, okay, right. Is that right? Okay, and it's like the thing. It's like if you want to hear God laugh, show him your plan. You know what I mean? It's what's the megalithic plan? What they got? What's the plan? What's occurring? What's the general gist of it? At first I've actually heard of it, but it was the time. I think there was a war between the squares and the circles, and we're seeing that resurfacing. And it's resurfacing in things like HARP up in Alaska and CERN over in Europe. There's a square set of aerials, and there's also CERN as well, which does a load of stuff. Crazy things that have been reported over at CERN, and also in HARP up in Alaska. I can't really, I've never been there, and I don't have any first-hand information. So, but yeah, it's yeah, it could, I think that sort of thing is coming back up here at the moment. And the standing stones, you can see standing stones that. So if you go to Karnak in France, where you've got the square, it's like a keyboard, But you also see that in Tibet, for example, up in the mountains in Tibet, they do squares of standing stones, that looks like a keyboard from a computer. And, it's amazing things that we've forgotten that we can do with energy. And we probably need to start doing that again. The simple things, if you do the simple things, the big things become possible. And possibly, working with existing things like standing stones, circles and pyramids and so forth, there's a great possibility that, we will understand or remember how to play with energy in a different way, But that comes back to the Atlantis story, because Atlantis, for me, my understanding is that Atlantis was pulling on the Earth's energy so strongly that it just made the crust too thin, and it just sank into the crust, disappeared into the Earth, as it were, and then that's when the sea came in and covered it over, but it's actually the crust for me that just got too thin. And it's a bit like what's going on in Italy at the moment. Have you seen that with the volcano in Italy? Someone asked about it like about a month and a half ago, whether that was going to be majorly affected. And I said no. I've forgotten who actually asked. I've studied Karnak stones for 40 years. Very interesting. Yeah, majorly interesting. I've been down there several times, Karnak. And it's the association with the standing stones in Tibet as well that gives me the heads up that the circles won, basically, because circles tend to be European more than anything else. You do get a bit in South Africa as well, and the squares tends to tends to be sort of Asia and or Eastern Asia and sort of Africa as well. But yeah, interesting. Campi Fiori, yeah, Fliggery, yeah, I know. I did mention it actually in the messages from Energy that it was getting a bit sort of things were getting a bit thin, and it's certainly come out this week that you know this weekend that things are really getting a bit thin now on the ground in the way of the crust and the magma. There's and it could be that town just goes and sinks into the sea. But they don't seem to be moving anywhere. They don't seem to be warning the general public and so forth. Just in case this person is watching, someone did a comment on the Jeff Mara podcast, and yeah, Jeff Mara podcast about they'd lost someone recently, and and they were trying to get over obviously the mourning process, and it's a complicated subject. It's not sort of something that you can switch on and off, And I said I'd talk to them a bit more when on the live, and I haven't spoken to them. I didn't speak to them last week because I didn't do the live, and I was just wondering if they're out there, if you're watching at the moment, give us a shout. The volcano is hotting up. Certainly is. Certainly is. Where's that come on to? Let me just see if it comes onto the map, my world map. Where's it gone on to? It'll be on the sun, won't it? On. No. Yeah, let me just I'm just pulling up my world map line. Okay. Just so you can see, what's going on with that place in Italy. Okay. So let me just pull it up. Here it is. Okay, can you hear me now? Sorry about that. I do apologise. Right, I'll start again then. This is my map that was on point 14. It's at the top there between the light blue and the dark blue lines. That is the heart chakra, and that light blue line there goes through Europe. You can't quite, it's not, it goes through Europe. It's actually quite blurry, isn't it? I do apologise. Let me make it a bit smaller so it's actually a little bit more sort of. Here we go. Look. So it's easy to see. How about that? The light blue line that goes through there comes right down through that sort of section there, and it is all about vertical energy. And you're going to get volcanoes. It's like the Greek volcano as well, the super volcano. That's along that point as well, and so I think it's almost protecting the heart chakra by allowing the pressure to come out there at the moment. But it's also allowing the heart to sing, because the heart chakra takes over. It's not just in the UK. The crossing point in itself is in the UK, but it goes across Ireland, UK, France, huge, obviously Wales and stuff like that as well. So it covers over a large area. And it's like that's on the periphery at the moment. That sort of, it's going to be a heartfelt moment, as I talked about it on, hang on a sec, let me find, oh yeah, I need to go back to that. As I talked about it on the yeah, there it is there. So I'm just trying to get my camera sorted out. There you go. As I talked about it the other day, I've now lost the thread of what I was saying. Something about the energy line, sort of like thinning it out and stuff like that. But yeah, I completely spaced what I was talking about then. Blimey, it's been a long day. And it's probably, I should be winding it up more than anything else because it has been a long day. And I might well end up sort of like not being totally clear about it. But it is, it's about the earth. That's what it was about, sort of like, that heart chakra thing that came out in the messages from energy this week, and how the heart was really leading forward. And that could well be putting a bit of pressure on that volcano there. We'll see whether it's really does sort of like kick in or, or it doesn't. Indigo, how you doing? I'm glad the sound came back. I've repeated everything I said, by the way, pretty much. That's why I lost myself. So, the heart chakra. I think it's a lot to do with that. And it's a vertical spike, and I think it's a spike of a liberation of the heart. Of finally, we can actually, before you might have had to sort of be very candid of what you said to other people in regards to energy, in regards to spirits, UFOs, or whatever, and we're getting a spike where we can liberate our heart, so we can actually speak about these things openly, without having to think that people are just going to turn around and say you're nuts. I'm quite used to that, so I don't mind. I've been called nuts all my life, so I'm quite used to it now. I'm, kind of going, yeah, okay, whatever. But, maybe that's what the situation is, where we're opening up our hearts, sort of thing, to enjoying the idea of really getting to the root and the nitty gritty of it all. You've got Naples sitting on that one volcano. And there's a huge amount of people that could be affected and so forth. And, I just hope they sort of like don't have any issues. But it could be, Pompeii all over again. And that's what we don't want. So, oh, it's Chrissy. How you doing? Hi, catch up on the reply. We'll catch up on the reply. Okay, yeah, no worries. Yes, all is well. Been very busy, but did a lot of driving today, this afternoon. That's why I'm really, really late. Starting to flag a bit, I think. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about that sort of like that movement and what's going on the 3rd and the 4th and the alignments that are all about that. And it'd be really interesting to sort of see if everybody, noticed anything that goes. I think there may be something, it may be a great understanding that's coming forth over the next couple of days that we can't hide from collectively anymore. And that will liberate a lot of things in the way of conversation, in the way of what we do and how we do. I think it's going to be really good. So, watch what goes on, and be part of it. Be part of it as well, yeah. So, yeah. Any other sort of like, have we got any, have a good week? Yeah, we will do. We'll all have a good week. I might do, did you like, I wanted to ask as well, before I go anywhere, but did you like the idea of doing the Messages from Energy live? Was that good? Or should I do it later? Should I do it early? Because of 6 o'clock, it's, I forgot what time I did it, but it might be a bit early for everyone in Australia and stuff like that. What I was going to do is I was going to change the time so it comes out of a more of a quick, a convenient time for Australia. So if I did it in the morning at say like 10 in the morning UK time, that should be late afternoon I think in Australia, so that'll help everybody out there. And then do one that's really quite late, so then that's good time for our friends in the United States and Canada and or the Americas. So I like doing it live as well because it's quite fun. We can talk about it. Have many experiences. A dark night of the soul. Really? It's been pretty hectic for you, Chrissy, has it? I find I quite like the dark night of the soul because you learn so much, and I love learning. And even if it is difficult, I still love learning. And I hope it's like I hope you learn a lot out of the. I do like it. I do a lot of shadow work. I think that if you do a lot of shadow work, then you've got a lot less problems in the world. And also, when your shadow's playing up in very quickly before it really does start playing up on you. And and it can translate to a real sort of dark night of the soul sort of moment. We dig deep. We dig deep, Chrissy, and just don't be hard on yourself, I guess, as well. I think that's really important. I'm sorry, Goob. I didn't find out. I don't know who that. I'll look into that guy you were saying about, because I think that'd be interesting to learn. But what was his name? I'm looking for it somewhere. I saw it somewhere. I'll find it. It's on the chat here, isn't it? Oh, there it is. There it's Chris Bledsoe. Okay, I'll look into that. And see what comes out of it. Clearing the shadow self, but has been rocky. All for the good though. Excellent, Chrissy. Chuffed to bits for you. It's good hard work. I know it's hard work. I've done it. You know what I mean? I'm putting together my new channel, which is called Healing with Tom, and I've got this. It's like an ongoing story of what got me to where I am, and there were 9 shadows to work on. I wish someone had told me that years ago. It would have been a lot easier if I had 9. 9 shadows to work on. Okay. Is that like the 9 circles of hell from what's his name? I've forgotten what his name. Dato. What was his name? The 9 shadows to work on. Is that from Jung? Is it? I'm well up for Jung. I love Jung. It'd be a nice, interesting guy to go to the Akashic Library and chat with him. That we could do that. That would be absolutely brilliant. Always great to chat with people like that. Been listening to a lot of Alan Watts to get me through. Well, I'll tell you what, he is. I've never seen him push so much on YouTube. It's unbelievable. He's all over the place, isn't it? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry's sort of like doing Alan Watts. Yeah, top man to listen to. Top man to listen to. You know, there's multitudes of people that you can listen to that are really, really good. You know, yeah, got a great philosophy. But as long as it gets you through. What are you laughing at, Nikita? Is that laughing at the nine circles of Dante? It was Dante, isn't it? That's right. 9 circles of Dante. Is it the 9 circles of hell of Dante? Is it? I'm convinced it is. I think it is. Or you just laughing at me? Laughing the fact that I thought if there was only 9, it would have been a lot easier. Yeah. No, it's good work to do. Yeah, I think it's essential. It's essential, and I think everybody, bizarrely enough, I think we're much more capable of doing that learning when we get to a certain age. You know, so it's all really good, really, really good. Anyway, look, I'm gonna love you and leave you. Unfortunately, it's only been a quick one this week because I was a bit late. We will have another longer one, getting back to what it is. It's the 9, and the more deeper, the more our light is anchored in. Well, 9 is that kingpin number. Whatever you do, you know, let's say you do 4 plus 9, that's 13. That's 4. So you go back to the original that it's plussing. So if you did 18, or if you did say like 16 plus 9, so that's 7 plus 9. So if you do 7 plus 9, that's 16. It's, you know, it's a returning thing. 9 is the kingpin thing. Dente, yeah, it is Dente, yeah. You know, it's you know, 9 is the kingpin. Is the orchestrator. It's the hand of God on the compass that creates all the geometry of the world. And it's the ultimate number, really, in regards to, you know, what we deal with. And quite an amazing geometric as well, sacred geometry, because 7 is the revelation, because you move out of that 5 that can build everything. 5 is like building everything. The pentagram, it's the yin and the yang. It's both sides of the pentagram. The pentagram can be great and it can be evil, so it's both sides of it. And that finishes in the 6, which brings it all back into balance. And then once we get into 7, because we're in balance, we go into 7, which is the revelation, and that reveals to it. And then all of a sudden, then we get 2 worlds next to each other. So we can see things differently, a little bit like the hangman. So you see 2 worlds next to each other in the 8. It's like that, obviously. And then you get the 9, which is basically where you start having control over one of those worlds. And it's the ultimate number, really. But the geometry of 9 is mind blowing as well. You know, it does help to create other dimensions, as it were. You know, but anyway, I can whittle off on that for hours as well. I should love, you know, a lot of Rudolf Steiner with the, you know, with his and very good on his geometry and dimensions and stuff like that. Anyway, for another day. Yes, I'm going to thank you all very much. I will see you all very soon. I will be doing some more videos coming out that are a little bit off the wall for this week as well. So I will see you all very soon. Thanking you very much for being here. Goob, thanking you very much for being here as a newcomer. And we will all see you again in the near future. In the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy. Right, how do I turn it off now? I think that's it.